Hello everyone, and welcome to Math 1324, Section 091, which is Math for Business and Social Sciences. My name's Terry Barnes, and I'll be helping you on this journey. So I wanted to take this orientation video opportunity to show you how the course is set up, show you where things are, and what my expectations are for how to handle this. So in looking at Brightspace right now, you've got this area here, which is announcements. You've got this area where I've put content that's important. You also have this nav bar up here. Now, when you're in the course, you will not see this instructor link. You're only seeing it right now for this video. So let's go through a few things over here in content that are important. Instructor plan, which is our syllabus. So let's go through here. We'll just touch on some high points. Here is my instructor information, my office phone, my office location. And here are my office hours for the fall, 7 to 8 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday, and 12 to 3 on Tuesday, and then Zoom by request. So if you are online and you still need to visit with me, you could pop by one of these times, or we can set up a Zoom. So let's go down here. You do not have to have a hard copy of the book. One electronic book was included in tuition, so you don't have to purchase a book separately. You do need a TI 83 or 84 graphing calculator, so you need to have that. Let's go down. You should read some of that. Course attendance. You should not miss more than 25% of the work time for this online course. So what I do is I check attendance on Sundays for the previous week. So attendance goes Sunday to Saturday. And if you do nothing in the course, you don't open your homework, you don't do anything, then you get an absence. If you get 4 of those, you've hit the 25% limit. And on the 5th one, you could be dropped for attendance issues. So it's easy to stay off of that list. Just work on something every week. All right, let's go down here. This is a general outline of the course. I have a more detailed one in the calendar that we'll look at, but this just shows a suggested schedule, but we'll see the actual due dates and everything when we look at the real calendar. Let's look at grading. So my course is divided into homework, test, and final exam. Homework counts 30% of your total average, and you can do your homework over and over again till you get the grade you want, which hopefully is 100. So don't worry that if you don't do it right the first time, you definitely get to try it again and again. The tests count 50%, and you get to take each test twice. So the higher of the grade will figure in your average. Before the test opens, all your homework has to be passed for that chapter with at least a 70. So the test won't even open for you if you haven't passed the homework. So keep that in mind. Final exam is cumulative. It's over everything, and it is 20% of your final average, and you take it one time. So that's how the grading works. Let's see. And then I've already talked about how I handle attendance, and that's what is in that red one. So I think that's the high points of the syllabus. Certainly read all of that, but that is the high points. Let's go to the next item. Okay, so there's some important student resources and just-in-time resources. You might look at that. There's my contact info again, my door schedule with office hours. You can look at that. I've already shown you a little bit of that. Let's look at the real calendar. So it looks very much like the other one, but it does have that this is broken up into 2 big chunks. So for 7 weeks, you're covering chapter 2, chapter 3 and 4, and chapter 7. And so down here by October 15th, all homework and exams for Chapter 2, for Chapter 3 and 4, which is one test, and 7, that's all due by October 15th. So you have this much to do before October 15th. And the tests won't open till the homework's done. So, and you could work and get ahead, but it has to be done by October 15th. Then for week 8 to 15, chapter 8 and 9, and chapter 10. And those are all the next chunk that you're going to do, and all the homework and exams. So 8 and 9 is one test, and 10 is one test. That's due November 30th, which is toward the end of the course. So you really have two chunks. This is about the time that midterm would be. So all of this, and this is all that will be available to you at first. And you'll have to finish that by the 15th. Then this will become available, and it will be due by November 30th. The final exam will open November 30th when all of the other stuff is done, and you'll have till December 10th to do it. So you will have some time, but keep in mind you've got a big chunk to do here, a big chunk to do here, and then the final exam. So that's how that calendar is going to work for you. So let's get back here, and we looked at the calendar. Let's do handouts. Let's look at handouts. So this yellow packet is about algebra. So if you're struggling with the algebra that we encounter in the course, here's a really good resource. So you might open that up. In chapter 2, we start out with matrices. You'll probably want to print this for a reference. Chapter 3 and 4, graphing. There's a lot of graphing and inequalities, and then some linear programming. So all of this is chapter 3 and 4. Then there's formulas for 7, and we'll do some Venn diagram things, so that might be helpful. And then there's formulas for chapter 10. So all of that is resources under handouts. Also in handouts is a final exam review. So when we get closer, you just remember that that is in final exam review, and I'll point that out again. Okay, so we have gone through all of that. Now, the big thing is right here, problem sets, lectures, and videos. So if you were coming to class, if you were doing this face-to-face, instead of pulling out a book each time you came, we would have some problem sets that we would go over in class to prepare you to do your homework. So let's look at the problem sets. You notice there's one for every chapter. Now, chapter 11 is not included. I need to take that off that link there, but you don't have to do chapter 11. So let's go to chapter 2, and let's go to the first set of problems. All right, so this is a problem set, and you may or may not know how to do this. You will by the time we go through it, but there's 7 questions there. The answers are included, but that might or might not help you. So, so that's the problem set. Then we're going to go back and grab the lecture notes for that. So we're back here, and now we'll go to lecture notes, and you know, they're the same chapters. We'll click on 2, and we'll go to 2.1, and I think there's a separate problem because some people were encountering this kind of number 7 instead of the one that's in here. So just know that that occasionally happens. I put extra stuff in there. So this is 2.1 notes, and I would be talking about that, and then I would have some examples, and then eventually I would get to those problems. And so here are the problems worked. And we get down to number 7, and this number 7 was about stock. And then there is another theater problem, but I think I put an extra one in. So that's the things worked out. You still may not be sure on, you know, what am I doing there? I don't know. So let's go look at the next part. So back here we have video lecture playlists. I have a YouTube channel with all of my video lectures here. So if we go to chapter 2, and we have 2.1, and somehow it, I think it cut off, so there's 2 videos for 2.1, so you may have to do that. But that's me talking through the problems and going through them. If it's something, when we get down here to 2.4, it's me working on the calculator and pressing the buttons and showing you how to do that. So there is a video that goes with the problem set and the lecture notes for every section that we have to cover. So they're all here. Some of them are fairly short, some of them are a little bit longer, but they're all here. So my goal for you would be to print a problem set, go through the lecture note, watch the video for a section, and that gets you ready for the homework. You may not need to do as much of that. It's up to you. It's whatever's going to be helpful for you. When you're done doing that, let's say you've done 2.1, you come up here to where it says Student MML Homework. Click on that. All of the homework that's available shows up. And so you can see that everything in this area is due October 15th. And there is a Chapter 2 exam, a 3 and 4 exam, and a 7 exam. In the exams, you get a flag that reminds you you have to pass all the homework or it won't open. You also are told how long you have. You have 2 hours here. You have 2.5 hours for this one. And you have 2 hours here. You have 2 tries on those. So all that information is there. These are clickable links. Okay, but it tells you October 15th, 11:59, all of that is going to be done. So you got to get this much done by October 15th. All right, let's look at this one. So there were 7 questions in the problem set and lecture. So it looks like we're pretty much on the same page. Let's go to number 1. All right, it says use the echelon method, which maybe you don't know what that is right now, but that's okay. You're solving a system of equations is what it is. And so there's 3 options. But if we chose this one, notice down here there's nothing. But if we click in the box to put an answer, these icons show up. If you need a fraction, an exponent, absolute value, etc., all of these, if you need an ordered pair, because this did say type an ordered pair. Well, great. I'm going to click that, and then all I have to do is put my answers right in those boxes. So what if I'm going to put a letter instead of a number, because then I know that will be wrong. I'm going to do that. I'm going to check my answer, and it's going to say one or more of your answers is incorrect, and it's going to suggest some things to you. If I don't change it, or if I do and I check it again, I still get another message, and now it says final check. So I do final check, and it says the correct answer is 3,2, and this is what I put. At this point, you can either go on to the next question and come back later and work on this one, or you could hit similar question. It changed your equations, and you can redo number 1 right there. So it's up to you. You can always come back and work on your homework until that due date, that October 15th or whatever it happens to be. So, and then the last thing I would say about your homework, if you're stuck on this and you have no idea why you're missing it, what's going on, if you will come down here to get more help and hit ask my instructor, that will send me an email with your specific question. So I'll get a picture of this. I'll know exactly what you're trying to do. You can type in there, I've tried to do such and such, I'm stuck on this, whatever you need to put in there. Don't send me that with no question from you. Like, don't send it and then I'm supposed to figure out why you're stuck. Please tell me what you've tried or where you're stuck, that sort of thing. Hit send, and I get that email, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So that's the best way if you have a question about homework. If you have a question about the course, just a regular email will work. but this is really the best way for me to help you. All right, so you can hit save. I think it auto saves, but you could hit save and we'd be out of there. And then you could go on to the other questions. So let's look at one more thing. So say you've done your homework for 2.1 and you want to look at your gradebook, and it should show up on your nav bar. You shouldn't have to hit more because some of this won't be there, but we'll hit that and we're going to see your gradebook. It's going to see where I missed that question. So you can see it shows that I did that. I've got 0 correct. I only spent 2 minutes, and this is when I worked on it. And it's where I started that homework. So you can see a progress bar. There are 28, 29, 34 total assignments. The quiz is the final exam. So your tests are here, quiz, which is your final exam, and all your homework. You will always see your updated average right here, so you'll always know where you stand. Again, you'll see 2 test grades maybe for a test, but only one of them's actually figuring in your average. So I think that gives you a quick overview of the course and how to work on it. If you need anything, I am here. We're going to have a great semester. Some of this is a little harder than other parts, and so don't get frustrated. We'll get through it, and I look forward to working with you.